When I was 16 years old, I moved from a neighborhood that wasn't so great to one where all the rich kids live. My mom is disabled, so we found an apartment complex specifically for that reason, where all the countertops and shelves were low enough for her to reach. I made many friends, and for once, I felt like I had everything I needed. One night, me and a friend headed over to a neighbor's house. She was telling me that she believed that this area was built on ancient Indian burial grounds because she would see people walk past her door late at night, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, someone came and rang her doorbell. I brushed off the story and didn't think anything of it until one night I was in my room and heard someone outside my window talking. I had no curtains on my windows, by the way, just blinds. So I ran straight to my mom's room and told her, and she told me that it was just my imagination and to go back in there. So I did. Not even 5 minutes later, I hear the voice again. So I grabbed my friend, my field hockey stick, and a softball bat, and was ready to face whatever or whoever it was. But no one was there. After that night, I only slept in the living room. So for weeks on end, I believed that there were ghosts haunting this place, until one day I came home from school and my mom says that visitors are coming over to talk about my ghosts. I was extremely confused until 2 policemen showed up asking me about what I had heard. I tell them exactly what happened, and they say, "Well, the workers here found a cinder block and a stool behind a tree right by your window, and the grass by your window is completely dead." When I asked them to show me, I was immediately sick to my stomach that someone had been watching me. And when I moved into the living room, he moved too. I cried and just felt disgusting that this had happened. They put cameras out, and they were able to see the description of the man and the fact that he brought a dog with him. The dog saw the cameras right away. For the longest time, I couldn't sleep in my room, and I was so relieved that he knew that we had cameras out, so he wouldn't be coming around anymore. Until last year, me and a friend of mine were just driving around and causing havoc like teenagers do. When we pulled into my apartment complex, I saw a man with the exact same description as my peeping Tom. I automatically tensed up, and my friend even said that she wasn't getting a good vibe from it. When we parked, we noticed that he went around my apartment building, and that as soon as he walked by us, he pulled his hood over his face. I never found out who it was or anything else after that point, but it still creeps me out to this day. When this encounter happened, I was only 10 years old, and my older sister was 12. Our father passed away when we were very young, and to this day, our mother never remarried. During our childhood, our mother would go out on dates with men that she had met, but they never would amount to anything more. One Friday night, she went out and left us at home. She would always leave right after we went to sleep. The doors stayed locked, but this time I guess it just slipped her mind on the way out. Anyways, the living room connected to the hall that the bedrooms were on. My room was the second bedroom down the hall, with my sister's being the third. In the middle of the night, I woke up to the sound of the door opening. I figured it was my mom coming in from her date, so I rolled back over and tried to go back to sleep. A few minutes later, I hear the door shut again, and a few seconds after that, my sister comes into my room terrified. She told me that when she woke up, she saw a man standing in the doorway, staring at her. He was wearing a long black trench coat. He never said anything, and when he realized that she was staring back at him, he turned and walked out. I grabbed my baseball bat from my closet and crept out into the living room. The door was wide open. By this time, my sister had called my mom, and she had called the police. When the police arrived, they searched for fingerprints but found nothing. The scariest thing was that nothing was taken from the house. He came in, but didn't take anything. We stayed with our grandmother that night, and the following night. The next day, the police returned to look for more evidence. My mother did notice that one of our chairs was missing from the back patio. It was found in the woods behind our house, on the top of a little hill. This man had taken our chair, sat up there, and watched us. How long had he been doing that? Apparently, there had been 2 other similar break-ins in the neighborhood. He would come in and not take anything, and all the people were single mothers. What would have happened to my mom if she had been home that night? A few weeks later, this hermit guy that lived down the road was found dead from an overdose. I don't know why, but my mom seemed to think that he was the one that was watching us. But there hasn't been any break-ins in the neighborhood since. This happened when I was 21, living in a 2-bedroom apartment with a roommate. It was the summer, and I had my bedroom window open with the curtains covering the screen. It was around midnight, and I was in bed watching a movie. I started to hear some noises from outside. This wasn't alarming. My apartment complex was pretty noisy, and my window was right by a walkway to one of the parking lots. The noises sounded like footsteps, which made sense because there was a walkway nearby. But they sounded a little close. I tried to ignore it, but that's when I heard someone talking. I was thinking that it was just someone talking on their cell phone, and that it's fine and I should go to sleep. The voice sounded way too close, as if it was right by my window. Then I heard someone clearly say,
"I want to fuck you. I want to see you naked."
I sat up and looked to the window and saw a shadowed outline of a person. I flipped my shit and screamed and ran into my sleeping roommate's bedroom. I was in a tank top and underwear, and I gave no fucks. I tried explaining to her what happened, and she didn't believe me at first. She kept saying that I might have heard someone talking on his phone, and I kept insisting that the person was looking in my window. I filed a police report, but since the curtains covered his face, I cannot describe the guy. The next day, we told the apartment manager, and he said, "Oh yeah, that guy. That's why we install motion lights around the walkways. He comes here every once in a while and likes to peep into people's windows and talk dirty." He went on to say that the guy has even been beaten up several times by boyfriends and husbands, and still comes back. Our manager gave a description of the Peeping Tom. The part that stuck out the most was that he was described as being very meek-mannered and shy. A detective called me, wanting more information about the incident, specifically if I got a good look at the guy, and could pick him out in a lineup. I didn't see his face, just a shadow, so I had to say no. It was so frustrating to know that everyone knew that this was the guy, but there was nothing that I could do. Several months later, I was walking from the parking lot to my apartment. When I came around a corner, I saw a man walking very slowly in front of me. I had a bad feeling. This guy was walking so slow, almost shuffling his feet. His head was dropped down low, and his eyes were glued to the ground. He heard me round the corner and stopped. He then shuffled over to a wall, and it's hard to explain, but he leaned his face into the wall as if he was trying to hide. As he waited for me to pass, I knew instantly it was him. I walked past him and kept turning my head to check on him. He hit against the wall until I was about 20 yards away, and then I watched him slip along the wall into a little dark alley, lined with bedroom windows.
Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please share, like, and comment. and become part of the unity by hitting the subscribe button. If you have a scary story that you would like to share, be sure to send it to my email or post it on the free horror stories subreddit. Consider donating to this channel and be sure to follow me on Twitter. And until next time, stay spooky and never forget, there's always a reason to be afraid.